but give me Drake Maye. I am buying everything that Mike Vrabel is selling. I am buying everything that Josh McDaniels is selling. He's one of those coaches, miscast as a head guy. You love him as a coordinator. Cliff Kingsbury, Wade Phillips, Norv Turner. Some guys just aren't meant to be in charge of everybody, but man, can they design offense. And Drake Maye kept his self above water. He stayed afloat last year with a horrible offensive line with sketchy skill talent. Now he adds Stephon Diggs. We'll see if Kyle Williams pops into anything. Demario Douglas looks excellent, by the way. He's been mispriced. I don't know where he was on this ADP chart, but I could have easily talked up Demario Douglas. But Drake Maye's sneaky mobile. He had one of the most highest scramble yards. I think even first or second in the league last year. Harmon was quoting that stat. So I like the player, like the coordinator. They've improved the skill talent. They obviously drafted an offensive tackle in the first round, Campbell, the kid from LSU. Patriots are favored in the majority of their games, a team that only won 4 games last year. I'm from New England. I wasn't sure when the Patriots would have a good team again. I'm in on this team. I think they're going to go, I don't know, 8-9, 9-8. I think they'll be in the fringes of playoff contention. I think they're the second best team in this division. Certainly not anywhere close to Buffalo right now, but team on the upswing. They got the coaching right. They got the coordinator right. They got the quarterback right. And there's talent around Drake Maye. He is, when you're looking for, again, all about upside, right? Tell me somebody who can smash their ADP. Doesn't matter about the floor because we know things could fall apart. Maybe the line stinks again. Maybe Diggs doesn't have that much left. Maybe Kyle Williams doesn't pop. Maybe there's Mario Douglas, and maybe he's got kind of a low ceiling. You have different opinions on that, but man, there's certainly an upside for Drake Maye to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, and I know you said you don't care about the floor, that we're shooting for that upside. He did show pretty awesome floor last year, right? The 9 outings where he played at least 85% of the snaps, never finished lower than QB 17, averaged 213 passing yards, 37 rushing yards per game, threw for 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, rushed for another 2 scores. Really looked like he belonged. And if you take those stats from those games where he played the majority of the snaps, you put him out over a full 17 game season, it puts him right into that low end QB1 conversation. I think he belongs there probably this year. There's so many quarterbacks that could fit that range. It's going to be so interesting to see. And I know a lot of people look at the rankings and they'll go, how come you have this guy so low? I can't believe you have Drake Maye at QB 15. Well, it gets very, very close from QB 7 or 8 all the way to deep into the teens. All those guys are pretty close. And there's a lot of guys you could go with in that range, or even grab 2 of them, even though that's not something I normally do with my teams. I normally just take a chance on one. And if it doesn't work out, I go to the waiver wire and I'll stream from that point on. But yeah, Maye is near the top of the list of those guys that could be a pure breakout candidate and maybe almost become that high end range of outcomes, but become that kind of Josh Allen talent and elevate all the weapons around him in New England and go on to have a great fantasy career. I will
So
also say,
let me ask you really quick. Let me ask you
go
really
ahead.
quick. I know you're a big JJ McCarthy guy. Is he higher on your ranks than Maye?
So I've flip-flopped both of them. I had McCarthy above him, and then I'll be totally transparent here. When I looked at ADPs and I saw where Maye was going and McCarthy was going, McCarthy's just going so much later that I didn't need to have him ranked over Drake Maye
Mm-hmm.
this year in order to get him on a ton of teams. So I flipped them back. I have McCarthy 1 spot below him. I think the ceiling for Maye is higher. But I think both these guys are going to end up being really, really good fantasy plays this season. I mean, Kevin O'Connell, and I've talked about this on the show before, and I've written about it as well in the breakouts piece that I did. And I talked about both these guys in that article. But McCarthy being attached to O'Connell and what O'Connell's done with basically every quarterback that's been there, even the backups that have gotten extended stretches as a starter in that offense. I think McCarthy is almost a lock to succeed there and to be in that conversation as a low end QB1 or, very, very close to it, flirting with those kind of numbers. But if I had to pick between them, it probably should be Maye because with the rushing ability that he brings, even though I think McCarthy is going to run probably more than people expect. I think young quarterbacks tend to. I've seen that over the years where it's just an easy default when they're younger and they still have the athleticism to use their legs, even if it's not necessarily their calling card. I think we'll see McCarthy do a little something there, but Drake Maye isn't going to be a Lamar Jackson, or even a Josh Allen level runner, but he's going to give you good production with his legs there. And if they found him the weapons, if some of those guys can come through in that passing attack this year, if the coaching is a little bit better, which it definitely should be, Drake Maye is somebody that could potentially swing fantasy leagues. So yeah, I think that's a great call.
Yeah, Hardy co-signed to pretty much everything you said. I would follow Kevin O'Connell into a burning building. And I just want to underscore, you mentioned noting ADP when you were thinking about your rankings here. And, it's so hipster to say, oh, I don't care about ADP. The ADP's trash. And ADP is what things cost, right? I mean, you wouldn't go into the store to buy a new computer and say, well, okay, I got $1,500. You would look at the different things and what your needs were. And, your kids going back to school, or you want a computer for home, or, for going on the road, whatever. You'd consider things. The price of things matters. And your market matters. And this is why when I'm in a Yahoo draft, people say, oh, yeah, I got to put my own rankings in there. I don't want these rankings. No, I want to know what my opponents are looking at. I will have a piece of scrap paper. I'll set my queue, of course, in case I get bumped offline or I need a name in a pinch. But I want to see in any draft output for that matter, but most of my drafts, of course, are on Yahoo. I'm a company guy. I want to know what my opponents are looking at. ADP matters because it's the market.